Elway boots and rolls to his right, stops, loads it up, throws down deep in the middle of the field. Rod Smith's got it. Here we go. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Rod Smith, Denver, touchdown. Inside the 10, head first. He flies to the 5-yard line. Long as that first down.
And I tell you what, if you want to tell me the 37-year-old man that's going to win this game.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year.
Oh, Broncos country, it's here. Man, we've been waiting. Sean Payton is in. Well, he's not in the building, but he's coming. He's coming. And here to talk to you about it all, we got our regular lineup. We got Albert coming in. We got Jody coming in. Welcome, gentlemen. I am so excited, man. So excited. Sorry, I'm blowing out the mic. Go ahead, man. Albert, welcome to the show, man. How you been? How you doing? How you feeling about the news, man?
I'm feeling great. I want to do my Ric Flair imitation again, but that will blow out your eardrums, so I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Take that back up a little bit, you know.
Woo!
And there you go. Or, that sounded like maybe a wounded coyote now that I made you tone it down. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry, man. I should have just let you go, buddy. Jody, man. We've been waiting. You thought it was going to be at the end of this week, if I remember correctly. That's what you predicted at the end on our show. I said, please don't make us wait. Man, talk about in the nick of time. Seemed like they waited to the final hour, but man, we're here, man. I got my wish. We did not have to wait another week. We have a whole new show planned because of news just coming out a few hours ago. How you feeling about it, buddy?
I think Denver made out well. Picking swapping, and second for a third. I think they made out well, as good as they could. I mean, when the Saints wanted multiple first rounders and other picks, they didn't get that.
Yeah. Honestly, overall, I can't be too mad about the trade. I mean, we've given up a lot of draft capital over the last couple of years when you talk about Russell Wilson, now when you start talking about Sean Payton. But you need to fix issues here. We've been having a ton of turnover as of lately, especially in the head coaching position. I think that all stops right here with this hire. Sean Payton is not a one-year coaching god. We're not in that position anymore. So, a few people I just want to give heads up or give some love to. We have Bucket Man Scouting coming in. He says, "Well, I'm afraid to admit I was completely wrong about Sean Payton coming here. The player personnel on the Broncos still worry me." We can get into that, but certainly this trade is not going to help that situation as far as draft capital is concerned. So there are some concerns, but at the same time, I think we also have a coach that might be able to work around that. Albert, what are your thoughts around this coach coming to the Denver Broncos and what it looks like, what Sean Payton looks like as far as especially offensively to this team, or even if you want to talk about the leadership that he brings? What are your thoughts about Sean Payton right off the bat?
The first thing is we have an experienced head coach, one that already has 10 plus years under his belt as a head coach. So that experience that already says something for itself. And he was head coach of a very successful franchise. So we only can get better because of it. And we already have pretty much a really good team lined up for him. So except the O-line that needs the improvement. So I think he has good materials to work with.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Before I get over to Jody on the same question, I'm just going to jump in again. We got Adam and Kayla coming in and saying, "What good, family?" And he says, they also say, "Hell yeah, let's go. What's up, family? It's a bright day in Broncos country." We got Michelle Knoppers coming in saying, "Evening, gents." Hello, Michelle. We have Marky, Beta. I'm not even gonna try to say the middle one. Howard at the very end. I don't want to. I don't want to ruin anybody's name.
Come into one.
Enough people ruin my name. So, hello to you, Marky. We'll just say Marky. Marky, that'll be fine. DJ coming in. Fangio won't be coming with Payton. He went to Miami already the other day. That was something that was brought up, but maybe we'll jump into that in just a second, DJ. So I got a little ahead on the comments. Jody, back to you. Your first thoughts. Again, Sean Payton, whether how he fits offensively with our personnel, or whether even his leadership on this team. What are your first thoughts?
I'm going to dive into the good because I'm hoping that this is a turnaround for the Broncos. It's a Super Bowl winning coach. He took Drew Brees, who was not doing so well in San Diego at the time, and developed him into a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's got over a 600, like a 620, 625 win percentage for his career. So it's a big swing. And I hope that he's one that can come in here and get Russ back on track. I think this is going to get Russ motivated and focused, and I think you're going to see a whole different Russ next year because of this. What I'm really anxious to see is what his staff is going to be. That's been my one, I guess, red flag is some of the offensive guys he's had in the past, and one defensive guy in particular, Vic Fangio. I don't know how that goes over in the locker room. There were guys that
we might as well
came right out,
back around, and I'll go ahead and since DJ brought it up. Oh, losing me or?
No, we got you.
No, we got you. Oh, maybe.
All right, there we go.
You guys still have me?
Yeah, we got you. Now we don't. But we can circle back around to this. I guess it was reported that he had signed in Miami. That was a little bit premature. Vic came out and disputed that, or said that it's not finalized yet. And I think this holds that up even more. I think he wants to come here. I don't know how owners are going to feel about that. That George Payton just fired him over just a little over 2 years ago. Now he's back. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Could be interesting.
I mean, but that was his side of the ball. I mean, he was a great defensive guy. Denver always had good defenses under him. So if he comes in, I'm not gonna hate on that.
As long as he's more interested by the team than with his Italian meatballs and spaghetti, then I think we are sitting good.
The other side of the ball is where I'm a lot more concerned, with names like Joe Lombardi, who just got fired from the Chargers, their former OC. I mean, he was in New Orleans for a lot of years with Sean. Other names I'm not really too excited about. Doug Monroe was an OC for him at one point. Those were red flags the last coaching cycle when other names were brought up like Doug Peterson and stuff. So we'll see. That's the one. They need someone that can come in here and not only develop Russ, but if Russ is washed, which I 100% do not believe, can develop the next young quarterback that you hire or that you sign, trade for, whatever it may be.
Jody, thanks for holding down the fort. Obviously, I was having some internet issues. I haven't had internet issues in a little while. So, of course, like we always talk about technical difficulties being part of the show, it raised its its head to this evening. Another thing that's always part of the show is Willow Seasonings and Blends. I just want to give a quick shout out, Willow Seasonings and Blends, your barbecue and spice and sauce company. Check them out, man. I tell you what, they're all around, all up and down in Colorado, along that range, or along that front. They have a fantastic website, willowseasoningsandblends.com. Or Willow Seasonings, I believe. WillowSeasoningsandBlends.com. Yeah, WillowSeasoningsandBlends.com. Just look it up, Google it. I tell you what, they're fantastic. Dave Slave is over there just killing it. And the reason he's killing it is because it's such a fantastic product. Go check them out, WillowSeasoningsandBlends.com. So just get a few more people I just want to get to real quick. Adam coming in and saying, Vic coming, let's go. It is a very interesting situation, obviously. Here's Vic Fangio, probably one of the best in the league as far as a defensive coordinator is concerned. Has always been admired as far as that position. Sean Payton has that fantastic relationship with him. They've already started putting together a staff and had Vic on that staff. We did have, like, as you mentioned, Jody, Vic was supposedly going to Miami, but came out a couple different reports. I want to say Adam Silver was one, and another report that he talked to, and he flat out came out and said, I haven't signed anything as of yet. So was leaving this open for this opportunity to maybe pair up with Sean Payton would make the most sense. Now, whether that means coming to the Denver Broncos, I don't know if he was fully on board with that or if he knew that was a possibility. Maybe he thought there was options to go in other directions or other venues or other teams, I should say. But regardless, there is that possibility, as it's been rumored that there's already been no negotiations between Vic Fangio and the Denver Broncos about coming back here. So, of course, there's been a ton of rumors out there as of lately, but one has come true, and that's Sean Payton to the Denver Broncos. So,
and I don't think that. He's got options. Miami, like you said, Denver. I'm mixed on that, and then San Francisco, where D'Amico Ryan has departed to take the head coaching job in Houston. So, he was a former DC there. So it's interesting. He's got options, and he might get in a bidding war.
Yeah, he absolutely has options. And I'll speak to this, and I'll let then Albert maybe jump in on this too. I have no problem with option B if option B is keeping Ejiro Evero. That's not a bad plan B if for some reason we don't have Vic Fangio. Albert, who would you rather have walk in the door? Would you rather have Vic Fangio walk in the door, or would you rather have Ejiro Evero walk in the door if that's still a possibility?
Well, if it would be me, I would be hiring Wade Phillips. I would like to see that one again.
Oh, wow. You're going in the Wayback Machine, buddy. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Who did he say? He broke up a little bit. Who did you say?
Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips.
I did, because what he did with that Super Bowl defense, that was something amazing. And if we can get something like that again. But yeah, Vic Fangio, I wouldn't mind getting him back either. He is a great defensive coach. He was just not good enough to be enough head coach to do it all together. And I think
go ahead.
If he just focuses on one area, I think we might get the best out of Vic again.
Yeah, and maybe that's it. Maybe the defense never got the best of Vic either. There was always rumblings that, that especially on the defensive side of the ball, where there's still some guys, that maybe there wasn't always the best relationship between Vic Fangio and the players on the team. But maybe taking all that head coaching responsibility off of his plate, letting him being just a defensive coordinator, you get as you said, Albert, you get the best of Vic Fangio at that point, not the limited amount of Vic Fangio that you really would like to see, especially from a defensive standpoint. So got to jump in here because my buddy Sis over from K&K is coming in and saying, "Evening, boys. It's always good to have you, Sis. Appreciate you jumping in. See if there's anybody else in here that I just want to say hi to. Got Adam and Kayla coming in saying we rock again. But go ahead, guys. We got a lot of comments coming in. Wade Phillips.
I'm not hating on the Vic, I guess. It's the locker room part of it for me. You had players currently on this team that came out that, trashed Vic for some of the stuff they didn't like. And a year later, you're bringing him back. You've got some guys that you're trying to resign. Draymond Jones, one of them, who was not the huge Vic fan.
Yeah, 100%. You're teetering the line, man.
But Vic as a coach, X's and O's, defensive coordinator, all the other stuff, I'm 100% fine with it. It's that locker room that's been ripped apart already this year. And are you going to start it off ripped apart right away again?
Yeah, absolutely. A good question or a good point that comes in. Bucket Man is coming in and says, in my opinion, it's not about developing a QB. It's about developing the team around them and getting players that make sense. 100%. I think that's one of the things you get in Sean Payton. There was a lot of people that were pushing for D'Amico Ryans just as an example. Now, D'Amico Ryans has to learn how to be a head coach, learn how to kind of be the leader of all men, and also try to fix Russell Wilson and the offense. It's a lot to put on the plate of someone like that. When we start talking about the Jim Harbaughs, the Sean Paytons of the world, now that's a little bit different. These guys are already developed in certain skill sets, have shown and proven that they're capable. So bringing in Sean Payton is exactly, I think, allows us to do that. I think it allows us to do both. I think you can develop a quarterback with Sean Payton because of his capabilities. You look at him. Bridgewater in New Orleans did well.
Oh, had his best season, probably.
He gets Jameis Winston in there, who was throwing interceptions all over the place in Tampa Bay. One of his best performances. He gets Taysom Hill in there. Taysom Hill is a starter. I wanted to say he was like 6-1 or 7-1 under Sean Payton as a starter. Taysom Hill, he goes out there and gets the performance out of. So you do have the ability to develop a quarterback, but you also see how those teams played for him. And he absolutely knows how to run a team. It'll be fantastic. I'm excited. Obviously excited. Which, I'll be honest, it is maybe a little bit of a divergence if you guys were listening to our last pods. Had some time, I'll be the first to admit. Had some time, went back, thought about it, started looking at it even before this came out, was getting a lot more on board with what we needed and what Sean Payton brought. And it brings up a fantastic question because it came up from Jacob up here just a little bit ago. And I'll get to... I'll go with Albert on this one first, buddy, but let me see if I can get it. Oh, boy. I'll go ahead and I'll just throw it out there. Do you think the trade was fair? Do you think the trade compensation, again, just to kind of go over it for anybody who doesn't know or is just listening, Denver Broncos get Sean Payton, and they get a 2024 third-round pick. The New Orleans Saints are going to get our first-round pick this year, and then our second-round pick next year. So what is your thoughts on that? Is that equal? Is that good? How do you feel about it?
I think it...
Albert, I got you on mute, buddy. So
I think it was reports are they wanted 2 1s and more, and you basically got him for a one that was kind of gifted to you, really. You had one team offer a 1 for Chubb, who you more than likely were not going to re-sign for that big of a deal. So you basically traded a guy that was going to leave you at the end of the season for Sean Payton.
Yeah, you could put it that way. Absolutely. Albert, what are your thoughts, man? I want to get your dive in on this.
Yeah, I think so far it is a steal. We don't know what his yearly contract will be, but for the trade picks, I think it's pretty much of a steal. We didn't lose that much, just like what Jody said, and we return in a second round, and we will get a third rounder again. And a lot of times in the third round, you get more quality players than the second rounder. And history has shown that.
Yeah. Well, the Broncos have done fantastic in 3rd and 5th round picks in the past. I think are some of their best that they've ever come up with. That and undrafted free agents. Thank you, Rod Smith.
I mean, you can go back to just past drafts. PS2 was great this year, but was that a miss? I mean, Justin Fields was there. You didn't have a quarterback. Micah Parsons was there.
Yeah.
I'm
never going to call it a miss.
I'm not going to say it's a miss, but you got other Jerry Jeudy. People say is a bust. I mean, he's starting to play well.
Yep.
Garrett Bowles. I mean, he's been average. Noah Fant, he's gone.
Yeah.
Paxton Lynch. So I mean, you got a lot of first rounders.
Yeah, if you start going back into those days, yeah.
You want to go back. I mean, that's Elway, but you can go back into first round picks and say, did we really hit on it? Bradley Chubb. What? I mean, that's another first round pick.
Well, I'll be completely honest. If we didn't go ahead and trade for Sean Payton and use this pick, I didn't see us sitting there at 29 anyway. We needed more draft capital. That's the end of the first round. There's lots of people that are trying to jump up and get that 5th year on a contract, and by being in the end of the first round, you're paying about as low as you possibly can and still getting the 5th year option on a player. So if you feel good about that guy, you're trying to trade. So I didn't ever think we were going to stay in that position anyway. Trade out of that first round pick, maybe pick up a 2nd round pick and a late round pick. We're sitting much better. We need a draft capital anyway. That didn't play out. We went ahead and we, bundled that in order to get Sean Payton. But guys, there was people that are jumping up and down. I have to agree. You take this trade every single day. You take this trade. I mean, a 1st round pick to possibly bring in. Who else are you going to bring in? Who else were you going to bring in to completely turn around and fix this franchise?
That's where I was at. I mean, after Harbaugh was your number 1 guy. That's been proven. Whatever. We don't need to go into that. But after you struck out on that, where were you going to go? You had already said you wanted an experienced head coach that had done it before. Well, who was there, really? There was one guy, maybe Jim Caldwell, and that was it. And I think his age plus his health scared you away. And at this point, you didn't really have choices when it was coming back to wait 2 more weeks for Jonathan Gannon or go interview Brian Callahan, who you'd never interviewed, or Mike Kafka. I mean, those just weren't real options for me. I'm not a fan of giving up a 1, but you put yourself in this position when you did a gimmick hire with Hackett. So,
well, and I think you put yourself in this position also when you hired Russell Wilson and you had Russell Wilson perform the way he did, whether it be under Hackett, whether it be Russell Wilson trying to do too much or not grasping what was the concept or whatever it would happen to be. But with Russell Wilson's performance last year, you firing Hackett in one of the quickest fires in NFL history, you needed to come in here and big splash. You needed to fix it. And you can't circle back and say, the reason we held out and the reason it's taken so long is because our big splash is even my name, Brian Callahan. I mean, you can't say that's your fix. That's not your big splash. That gives no confidence to anybody. I don't care if it's inside the building or outside the building. So,
see, I've been on board.
Coming in and agreeing with I think everybody in Broncos country. And I'm not on board. I will say, I'll put this out there for anybody who wants to just throw it in the comments. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have? Now I'm going to forget the name.
Josh
McDaniels or Nathaniel Hackett, and you can leave that comment in the air, and I'll let Jody go ahead, buddy.
See, I've been reading a lot. Well, all this pressure on Russ now. I think there was pressure on Russ. I don't think the pressure's there. Russ knows he played bad. Russ knows what he did. He's heard it enough. Russ humbled himself, and if you want my opinion, you are going to see Russ 15 to 20 pounds lighter next year. Russ is going to be in incredible shape. Russ is going to ball out. The last 2 games are proof Russ can still throw the ball when you run stuff that works for Russ. And that was against 2 playoff teams. You can say whatever you want. Chargers didn't play the full game, whatever. That was against starters. And that's it. He had no run game. I have to laugh when Solom's up in New York says that was one of the reasons that we hired Hackett, because everywhere he's been, he's had a dominant run game. Well, where was that? That dominant run game didn't happen here under him. So good luck to New York with that. But I just think Russ is going to be 100% motivated. He's going to prove all these people wrong. You wanted to doubt him and all this, and the contract, who doesn't really – the next guy's going to get paid. Herbert's going to get paid. Joe Burrow is going to get paid. That's the going rate for a quarterback that produces like that. So you find ways around it. Look at Kansas City. They were paying him huge. And what?
Yeah.
They've been to 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls or something?
Yeah, 100%, man. Bucket Man came in here, and Bucket Man Scouting came in here. I just want to hit Jody on this one real quick because I think you mentioned this name earlier. I think Doug Marrone is a good O-line coach. Currently is the O-line coach in New Orleans. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Payton needs to bring in people that have the same vision. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Oh, he's got massive top. I'm not a Doug Marrone fan, so
I know you're not. That's why I wanted you to maybe speak to Bucket Man Scouting here a little bit.
Payton has ties to Barrow, the offensive line coach. I can't. His name's escaping me. Anyways, Payton's got ties to him, and he's one of the best. Mike Munchak. He's one of the best. Yeah. One of the best in the game, and I think that's where they're going to go there. That's another leader, and he's been a head coach, and Garrett Bowles had his best season under him, and I think that's where you go right there.
Albert, you're chiming in as well, buddy?
Yeah, Mike Munchak, I hope to see him back again, because indeed with Munchak, we had a much better O-line than we had last year, this year, past year. And there's also a benefit having no first-round picks. Now we don't have to watch that dreaded, long, drawn-out picks.
First day of the yeah, no, not interested in the first day of the draft, huh, everybody? It's like, no, I like that speed. Day 2, day 3, give it to me. Yep. All right, that is one advantage. This kind of brought me around because Mike Munchak has quite a bit of experience. But Anthony is asking, who's going to be replacing Justin Outen, Clint Kubiak for the Broncos coaching staff? Obviously, when we're talking offensive coordinator, we're talking quarterbacks coach there. So I'll be honest, that's one place I have not looked. I was trying to look to see if there was anybody on the radar as far as Sean Payton and who he might want to bring in. I haven't done my due diligence. I apologize.
See, that's my one red flag is Joe Lombardi. He was on the staff for a long time in New Orleans, and he just got fired from the Chargers as their OC. I guess if he's going to be your quarterback's coach, that's fine. He had Teddy Bridgewater at his best year when he was the quarterback's coach there, but that's the one guy I've said from the beginning I do not want as OC.
Yeah, it could be interesting, buddy. Could be interesting.
And who knows? Maybe we will keep Justin out because the last 2 games they were much better than the entire season that we saw. And there's a possibility too.
We got some friends chiming in. We got the K&K show coming around, and Kurt here says, "Let's go, baby." I absolutely love this ownership. Kurt is excited and off the charts excited, I guess. And on the other side of things, we have this comment that came in and said, "Kenny, the other side of the K&K show, I am not on board, and I'd love to tell you why." Well, Kenny, I'd love for you to tell us, buddy. Welcome to the show. I'm going to
What's
drop
up,
you
guys?
right in.
What's up?
You know, we
Thanks
got
for
all the
thanks for
Broncos
allowing
fans.
me to come on for a couple minutes, and congratulations. First most, you all seem very happy, and I hope you're happy, and I can change my mind before I go off. And
There you go.
I'd love to
I was
tell you
going to
why I'm
say,
not on board, because I
okay,
listen to
very
your
good.
show. I listen to your show every week. Greatest Bronco talk that I know around, and I listen to you
I
guys every
appreciate it.
week at work. And I got a rare Tuesday off. First
Well,
reason,
we go
first
ahead.
reason, offensive line. How are you going to fix this offensive line when you gave away your draft picks and you have no salary cap? You have $9 million in salary cap to fix this offensive line. That's
I've got an
number
answer.
one.
I have an answer.
No, but
All
go
right.
ahead. Go ahead. We're going to go through your
Number
list, buddy.
two, you're going to bring in Vic Fangio, and I'm not saying you three guys, but I know some other Denver Bronco fans that wanted him out the door, and now you're all going to welcome him back. Those fans that didn't want him because Sean Payton's there.
Ooh,
No good. You're going to have a
Okay.
media circus with that. And the third
Okay.
one, that's the two for now. And then I'd just like to know your minimum expectations, because I know another guy on my show has got a lot of answers to do, because there better be some big expectations in year one with him. Not you three guys. I'd love to hear your expectations. But those are the two
Okay.
and minimum expectations to start.
All right. Well, since Jody said he had an answer, I'm going to start off with Jody. We'll go ahead and give Jody the floor on how we fix this offensive line with no draft picks. We gave up draft picks, buddy.
I think one is you've got some guys on this roster that you will restructure contracts and save money. Garrett Bowles, $10 million. Ronald Darby, $10 million. There's $20 million right there. And you can do just like Kansas City did. Kansas City went out and got two guys in free agency to fix their O-line right away. I think that's where it's going to have to be, free agency, one. And two, I think Mike Munchak. That's the answer right there. Mike Munchak made Garrett Bowles an all-pro. And I think he can do that with other guys.
Albert?
So that's my
Go
fix
ahead.
right there for the O-line.
Perfect, buddy. Albert, do you have a fix for the O line now that we've given away draft picks and we're in a bad position already?
Yeah, the first fix that I would do is get Landau out, so that we have less injuries. That
There you
would
go.
help too. And we probably can either let Sutton go or restructure his contract, because he did not have a great year as well. So we can use some money from there. And then I get a really good O-line coach like that would help. And there, now that we have Sean Payton as the head coach, I think the more other players are might be more interested to play for the Broncos now too, and that will help.
Fair. I'll give you my 2 cents, Kenny, and I'll make it quick. I'm going to piggyback right off of what Albert just said. We now have Sean Payton in the building. We have the Walmart ownership group, or the Walton Penner ownership group. We've got, honestly, up until this last year, we were talking about a Hall of Fame quarterback. We were talking about a possible Super Bowl contender in the Denver Broncos. It's all coming together. I think free agency will definitely open up. I think more people will be willing to come to Denver just because of that. We're going to have to fix this a little bit in free agency. We didn't give up all that much. We gave up one pick from this year's draft. The 29th pick, almost the last pick in this draft. We gave up one pick. That's it. We still have all the rest of our picks. They weren't plentiful, but we got a couple of thirds, a fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. We do have the ability to restructure, and we certainly have the ability to bring in those free agents like we're talking about. So that in and of itself is why I'm not as worried for you there, buddy. I'll bring you back up on the screen.
I will say one other thing. I think that Payton will also help this O-line. Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks at getting the ball out of his hands quick. I think that's one thing they're going to work on with Russ. lots of bootlegs, and getting the ball out of his hands quick. I mean, holding on to the ball for 20 seconds, I don't think that's going to fly with Payton.
Okay, so
I think Payton fixes this, helps this O-line just in scheme alone, running the football, different things to take pressure off of the line where they're not in pass pro 50 times a game.
switch that camera a little bit late. Kenny,
I got a second one for you guys. Okay, no, I'm sorry, Keith. No, the Vic Fangio effect. What happens now? EJ Evero's defense, all I heard all year, and it rightfully so, top 5 defense. What happens if the defense regresses a little bit? I'm not saying a lot, but a little bit. You're going to have a media circus with Vic Fangio there if this defense regresses.
Regresses from what? Because if you look at the last 3 or 4 games, they didn't look all that impressive for the and the Denver Broncos.
I'll chalk that up to they had a lot of guys hurt at the end and injuries, and you were down to your 3rd string cornerback starting. Draymond Jones was out. You had some guys out. So, but yeah, that has been my one thing. I'm not so much if you ranked 3rd last year or this year to now you're ranked 5th or 6th. I'm not so much worried about that, but like Kenny's saying, in the locker room, you had guys publicly come out and say they hated playing for Vic, and now he's back a year later. Draymond Jones, one of them that you're going to try to re-sign. You're probably your best defensive lineman pass rusher.
I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to be the one who says you can just pass that off. I know they're in negotiations with them. It's not final. If it does happen to come down to that, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. I think there have to be a lot of give and take from both player and coach to make that really work and come out there and really make it feel legitimate and not feel like a Russell Wilson press conference. So I think it would. I think that would be by far the toughest point that you brought up, Kenny.
These owners have to be smart enough. That had to have gotten brought up. I mean, reports were out there well before he was hired that that's who he wanted as a DC, and that had to have gotten brought up. How are you going to address this in the locker room and make it where the past is the past and he's a defensive guy? He's the guy that once led you is now only leading the defense. I mean, that had to have gotten brought up, and obviously they were okay with what answer Payton gave them.
Yeah. Albert, you wanted to chime in too?
Yeah, and when Fangio was here, he was the head coach, and I think he was in over his head as well. Maybe not as much as Hackett, but he was over in his head. And so if he can just focus on the defensive side, I think he will have maybe more support. I'm not sure, but that's where the possibility lies. And I mean, who knows? Who knows? Evero might still stay because Sean Payton saw what Evero can do as well. So.
I'm sorry. I had to read this one comment.
Yeah, you certainly did. Well,
I'll
start it off on the first one. We have exactly good coaching helps the O-line. Jody on the money tonight. Kenny, stop worrying about our Broncos. Worry about paying Daniel Jones $40 million a year. Laughter, laughter, laughter. We know who this is.
We all know who that is. But I'm happy to see you guys smiling. I really am, because you guys really had a bad year. And I don't dislike the Broncos. If you guys were all Eagle fans, yeah, I dislike you. You got Bronco fans. I love you guys. So, but here's one more I'll give you guys. Was Payton their first choice after all is said and done? It seemed almost like a panic move now at the end to get him, which is great for you. You guys are all happy you got him, and I hope it turns out well for you guys. But did it seem like he wasn't their first choice, and maybe Ryan was there for the job this afternoon, and he jumped over to Houston? Dan Quinn stayed in Dallas. It doesn't look like many guys wanted this Denver job, and the money's there for Payton. I think that's going to obviously be a factor, but is this job as good as it looks is my question.
And I'm going to Albert first. That's why I got him big on the screen, buddy. Appreciate the question.
Yeah, I think that Sean Payton was either 1A or 1B selection next to Jim Harbaugh. And he was one of the first coaches that was approached by the owners. So I do think that he was, the top priority. And that we didn't get Dan Quinn, I'm not so sad about that one. So no, I'm looking forward to see what Sean Payton can do in this for this team. And if it would have been Jim Harbaugh, I would have been as happy as now.
Equally happy. 1A, 1B. What do you think, Jody? Kenny asked, was this our guy all along, or was this a kind of a last resort, and was this position even really desirable to any other coaches?
I think it's pretty obvious Harbaugh was their number one guy, but they didn't get him. And after that, I've seen mixed reports. Ryan was number 2. Ryan wasn't. But they came out right away and said that they wanted an experienced guy that had been a head coach before. So if you take the owners at their word, how can Ryan be your number 2 guy? He has never been the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And Quinn, they've had 2 years now that if Quinn was the guy, go pay Quinn and get him. You've kind of danced around with Quinn and never really went and got him. I think it's more of he was buddy with George Payton, and they never were really 100% sold on Quinn. So I don't think he was their number 1 choice, but he definitely was probably their second choice. And I think what drug this on so long was compensation. Denver had a number or draft picks that they were not willing to give up, and I think Payton helped with that too, saying, you make this deal now or next year, you're going to get less. Because I'll sit 1 more year and you can get nothing from me.
Exactly. Answering your question again, Kenny, I'll agree with Albert, 1A, 1B. I think that's where you had Harbaugh and Payton. I think that was a very, very close race. I don't know if we'll ever know who was first and who was second. Just because Payton could have had a good interview and didn't need talking to as multiple times like Harbaugh. But I think they were definitely the top 2 coaches that we went after in our big splash. I think D'Amico Ryans skyrocketed, and multiple teams said that. He came in, his interviews were off the charts, and that made him all of a sudden leapfrog Sean Payton because of that compensation that even Jody brought up for a little while. Outside of that, I think, you're absolutely right. I don't know if there was a whole lot of interest on either side, whether it be for the Broncos, for some of the people they brought in, or for the people they brought in necessarily for this position. Again, they wanted to make a big splash. They wanted to have somebody that had a lot of experience, and if you look up and down who they brought in, there wasn't a whole lot of that. I think there was definitely different tiers that they might have talked to, but there was always really just 2 ideas of where they really wanted to go until D'Amico Ryans came in and kind of messed it all up for him. So,
can I ask one more question, Keith? And
You
thank
got
you
it,
for having
buddy,
me
man.
on in short notice. So, appreciate the invite.
yeah, absolutely, man.
Minimum expectations in 2023, and I'll give you mine short and sweet.
Okay.
You have to leapfrog the LA Chargers and be the second best team in year 1, in my opinion. You got
Very
the
good.
coach now. You got the quarterback. I'm not saying you got to leapfrog the Chiefs. That's going to be hard in year 1. But you got to be better than the Chargers, in my opinion, year 1. That's my one expectation this year.
One expectation. Jody, I'll go down the board here. So, Jody, your expectation of the Broncos now that we've gotten Sean Payton.
I have high expectations. One, you said leapfrog the Chargers. We beat LA once, lost to them in overtime, and lost to Kansas City by a total of 10 points in 2 games. So, I think Denver is close. Expectations high, and I think this makes Russ even more motivated to have a coach that excites him, that's gonna will be a leader to the whole team, and that's my biggest thing. Is I think Russ is going to be motivated. He's going to come in shape, and you're going to see a Russ like 2 or 3 years ago where he was just balling out, and that paired along this defense, I expect big things.
Albert, your expectations with Sean Payton in the building?
And a great winning season with playoff possibilities. That is what I see. And like Jody said, all our plays or games that we had, at least 10 of them were within one score. If we turn that one over, we are on 13-14. So that's where I see. And with Sean Payton, if he plays to the strengths of the team, and not like what Hackett wanted, and I think we are a team to beat. That's what I think.
My expectations, and I'm glad because I get to wrap right back into another comment from maybe the K&K show group. What my expectations are is now we have a great ownership group with great leadership in the Walton Penners. They brought in the creme de la creme as far as everyone that they brought in around them. They haven't played around. If they need to get rid of a coach before the end of the season, even though it's unprecedented, even though it may quote unquote make you look like a laughingstock, it's getting done. Now they go out and they say, we're going to make a big splash. We're going to get a head coach in here that knows how to do it, knows how to run an offense, knows how to run a team. They've done it. What my expectations are is this actually sets the Broncos off on a path for future years that we haven't seen for a very long time. We have the ability to now, again, if we're talking about 5-7 years with Sean Payton as our head coach, which should be the expectation going forward. We're talking about stability within this organization. We're talking about an organization that you can be proud of, that you're not worrying about what quarterback, what ownership, what GM, what is coming in, what head coach is coming in the door next year. I think this brings stability, and it's something the Broncos country has needed. That's my expectation. Now, I think that'll equate to wins, and I think we have a great roster and all of that. And I'm absolutely in agreement with Michelle here. I'm looking forward to the day of Chief stomping. Just saying, living in Chiefs country, I can only imagine, Michelle. So we need to get a win versus the Chiefs, and that would be fantastic. But my expectations from here on forward, now that I've seen this all put together, is that we have an organization that we're all proud of. Kenny, what are your expectations
Well,
again?
Let me explain that a little better.
Okay.
I want you to be the second best team in the division. Now, if that means winning 7 or 8 games and being better than the Chargers and the Raiders, okay, you made steps forward. Okay, I think Sis said it in a comment. You don't have to make the playoffs in year 1, but be better than you were than last year. Like you said, Russell Wilson needs to show he's the guy. He needs to improve dramatically off of last year, because if I don't see those improvements, then you know what? Time to move on from him and get those expectations with a new young quarterback. But what I meant by, be ahead of the Raiders, be ahead of the Chargers, until you can, I'm not going to say knock the Chiefs off the throne in year 1. That'd be foolish. But, get there in 2-3 years, you can be there. Yeah. I hope this is the right move for you guys. Again, I'm not, on here saying, I hate the Broncos. That's why I'm saying
you're
all
on
these things.
here.
I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at it as a different point of view, and that's why I wanted to come on tonight. And at least comment, but you brought me on the show, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, we appreciate Kenny, man. We appreciate all the guys over at the K&K show. Actually, Kenny, I hardly ever get you on screen. Talk about the K&K show, man. You can do it better than I can. I try to mumble through it, so go ahead, buddy.
I'm going to do it in 15 seconds because I want to hear what you guys still have to stay on the show. We're K&K Sports Show. We're on the East Coast. We do Wednesday nights on Facebook, YouTube, 7:30 to 9 p.m. We talk all sports interactive. You have any questions, comments, we'll read them. We'll answer your questions. Thursdays we do a Wits and Wagers show, but we're taking a little break until March Madness. But that'll start up for March Madness tournament, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I appreciate you guys for having me on. Next week, open invite for you three guys. We're going to do a little Super Bowl special. If any of you guys want to come on the show, I'll throw the open invite out right now, but I'll be in touch with you guys throughout the week. We're going to set up a nice little Super Bowl show for next week.
Fantastic. Kenny does a fantastic job. Actually, all the guys over there, over at K&K, fantastic job. They cover all sports. Those times that he mentioned, those are Eastern times, if I remember correctly, 7:30 to 9:30 Eastern time. And I'm telling you guys, these guys are fantastic. They'll bring you all your sports. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's baseball, football, give you a little bit of basketball, give you some hockey on occasion, I believe, even as well. But and then jumping over to Wits and Wagers, fantastic advice. You get Joey Clams in there. Jumping in, and that guy just cracks me up, but he also has fantastic advice. So,
I got a question for Kenny from one of our viewers. For the next 4 years, would you rather have Russ and Payton or Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll?
From what I saw this year, I'm gonna say Jones and Daboll. If you're going by this year, but I will say this. I am not sold on Daniel Jones, but I am sure not sold on Russell Wilson either, guys, from what I saw this past year.
well, and I heard this talked about a little bit too, Kenny. A lot of people are like, man, the Broncos are really doubling down to get this right with Sean Payton, right? It's with what you're going to invest both in your draft picks, what you're going to invest dollar-wise from a Penner. I know it's not salary cap, but what you're going to push in to pay Sean Payton, I mean, you're going all in. I can tell you, you're all in with Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll is a small stack compared to the all-in that we have on the table right now. So you're the value, like you always you were talking about, based upon what I saw, and I think based upon the value that you actually have there, yeah, I would have to probably go Daniel Jones and Daboll as well. But moving forward, this should be the all-in gamble that gets us hopefully on the right side of things, and we're all wrong about that. But I'll be honest, I love the young quarterback, that's a fairly inexpensive investment. And I'm telling you, just look at salary cap got increased, gentlemen. Salary cap got increased big time. $40 million a year is no big deal. And I'll tell you the reason why, because right now, if you look at Patrick Mahomes, is Patrick Mahomes underpaid? You're dang right he is. He's way underpaid. And everyone was talking about how huge that contract was at the time. He's so underpaid now. So underpaid.
They're saying 250 in like the next 5 years is what the cap will be. So,
yeah.
I mean,
no end in sight.
So, I mean, that's
bad news for the AFC West with Mahomes being underpaid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a few more years before he's going to have to negotiate too.
But I think a lot of that could change though if reports
bad news for the Chargers, though. Bad news for the Chargers.
If Andy Reid retires at the end of this year, like some of the reports I've seen.
Ooh. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Wow, I got like things falling in the studio here now. Wow. Gentlemen, we're almost at the end of our show. One thing that I haven't even mentioned is our fantastic, I guess you could say, not sponsor, but where we were brought to you from. We're brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. You guys, if you haven't checked out the Rocky Mountain Sports Network, got to go check them out. We actually got a new webpage that's all up. Search that out. Got articles going up on there. We got always everything, all the breaking news. They are on top of it, guys. I tell you what, Rocky Mountain Sports Network had everything that's breaking, and it doesn't matter if it's been the hockey news as of lately, as trades have been happening with the Colorado Avalanche, whether it's obviously all the news with the Broncos. There's been tons of stuff going on. Check them out, Rocky Mountain Sports Network. You can check them out on Facebook. You can check them out on YouTube. like I said, you can check them out on their own website, and they might even have an article coming out. Actually, I had it all prepped and ready until Sean Payton happened, and then it blew up my article because it was all about what, without a head coach, and now I got to put it in with a head coach. So look for that. And again, thank you to Rocky Mountain Sports Network for always bringing you our show every Tuesday night at 6:30. So, gentlemen, we're rounding up the end of our show. I know that we could talk all night, and it's an exciting night here on Broncos country, but I think we can actually start to wrap it up. So I'm going to just go down the board as I see it. Bring up anything else that you have to bring to the table, Jody. Anything that we need to talk about before we get out of here, in your opinion?
No, I'm excited that we're done with this coaching search. I'm glad we got one of the big top 3 names. I think he's going to do wonders for Russ. Then the next thing I'm looking for, where it puts with him.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be really important.
Kenny, you're actually second on my list. So, Kenny, I'm going to give you some closing thoughts. Any ideas or thoughts that you want to bring to the Denver Bronco Roundup crowds and the Broncos country?
I'll just say for anybody, thanks again for having me. And
thank you.
Kenny. Don't change anything you 3 guys do, because I'm a Giants fan, and I look forward to hearing a Broncos talk show every Tuesday night. So you guys definitely are doing it right. And I know Sis will agree with me. Keep up the great work. Love the family we all built here on the East Coast and over you guys over there at Rocky Mountain. And I'm happy for you guys. You 3, I'm happy for. There's somebody who I am affiliated with that I may not be as happy for, but for you 3 guys, I'm very happy to see you guys smile. I'm happy to see you guys smiling, and good luck. That's all I'll say.
Well, appreciate it, Kenny. Man, I can understand it's a little bit tougher when, humility, there's something to be said about humility. Let's just put it that way. Albert, anything that we need to bring to the table for Broncos country and the Denver Bronco Roundup fans before we get out of here?
Yeah, I thought the situation with Draymond Jones, maybe we can talk about it next week.
Okay.
Because that is coming up too, his contract. And yeah, let's hope that the Eagles will prepare a really good game for the Super Bowl, and that they can have a little beating for the Chiefs.
There you go, buddy. Just a reminder for Broncos country. A couple of things that will be coming up between now and our next show. Senior Bowl is happening. Check that out. That'll be happening this Saturday. But I think even more importantly, and again, might have a little article around this, is the East-West Shrine game, guys. East-West Shrine game, we've had 3 guys in back-to-back years be drafted that played in the East-West Shrine game. It's on this Thursday on NFL Network. I'm going to be checking it out. I think you guys should be too. If you get a chance, check out the Senior Bowl. It's a Saturday as well. Comes on a little bit later. I want to say it's like 7 o'clock Mountain Time, but don't quote me on that. Check out your local listings for all those times. But I'm excited, guys. We were talking about it earlier. If we're going to be able to fix this Denver Broncos team, we're going to have to rely on the draft. We're going to have to rely on some mid-round picks. And when it comes to mid-round picks, there's no better venue to maybe see some of those guys than the Senior Bowl and the East-West Shrine game. So take a look if you get a chance. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Albert. Appreciate you always chiming in. I know that you're on the road, and it's always difficult to not be at home and come in here and be ready for every show, but you do it every single week. Jody, whether it be 4 feet of snow, whether it be 30 below temperatures, always making it to the show. Kenny, you guys over at K&K Sports Show, I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are always a fantastic family group, as you said it with us, always supporting, and we love to support you guys because you guys have a fantastic product over there as well. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. We're going to get out of here. We appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for everyone that chimed in. We had record numbers when it came to our viewership as we came on tonight's show. We had a fantastic interaction in all the comment boards, so I appreciate everyone chiming in. We are the Denver Bronco Roundup. We're on every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. you'll always see me. You'll always see, it seems like, Jody and Albert, and hopefully maybe a little bit of Kenny every now and then when he gets the days off. Appreciate you, Kenny, jumping in. Thank you to Willow Seasonings and Blends. Check them out, willowseasonings.com. That's willowseasonings.com. Got some fantastic going on. And check out the Dude Network if you're into any barbecue shows. They were on there too, and they have a great partnership going on. Again, from all of us to all of you, we've got Sean Payton. We've got our future planned. Hey, now we can just look forward to regular off-season activities. And with that, guys, I want to get out of here with a little mile-high salute to you all. Appreciate you so much. Have a good week. See you next.